Hello, welcome if you're here for the first time. Welcome back if you've been following my channel. It's Wednesday, so you know, children's book. I did that thing that I do where I randomly just go on Libby and it's like kids books available now, and I found this was the first one that came up and it's really cute. It's called Elena Camps by Juana Medina. Can you guys see that? Anyway, okay. This is a cute little story to read about overcoming frustrations. In this story, Elena is building a tent, and it's not as easy as she thought it would be, so she gets frustrated. But yeah, a few reminders. There are some skills that a child needs in order to be able to learn how to read. So the first thing you're going to want to do is when you read, make sure you're using your finger. Elena Camps by Juana Medina. Make sure you use your finger. I always like to show them the author and illustrator so that they know the author is the one who writes the book, the illustrator is the one who draws the pictures. And if there's only one name, then they did both. You want to make sure they're holding it correctly, right, with the cover facing them the right way. They know where their cover is, where the back is, and they know that you turn one page at a time. You start on the left page, then go to the right. Those are all skills that, like I said, they need to read. They can't read until they know those skills. But so how this works is I kind of go through and ask specific questions. I give you specific questions to ask, and then I'll give you some words that they may not know that you can define, and then and then each book is best when you read it multiple times. So normally 3 times is pretty good to reread a book. So first page. First time I read a book, I really like to ask labeling questions, right? Children need to know vocab first off, and they need to know like verbs, right? Things they're doing. So this is just a picture, right? But I said I would ask, what is Elena carrying? They'll probably say a box. Okay. Then predicting questions. The second time I read this, I would try to ask either predicting questions or questions that they have to remember what happened. So I'd be like, what do you think is in the box? Right? And then you can ask them. A word on this page, huge. You can just explain that's another word for big. The third time I read this book on this page, I would ask, have you ever been camping? Because it's talking about she wants to camp in the new tent. Okay, this would be a good page to talk about, have you ever been camping? Did you use a tent like Elena, right? And then I shown this picture, so what was in the box is the first one, right? They're gonna say a tent. Then the second question, right? Predicting questions. Do you think it'll be easy or hard for Elena to put up the tent? And then related to them, have you ever put up a tent with mom or dad, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, whoever? This one I might ask, what is Elena trying to do? Build the tent, right? Get that verb of building. The second time I would ask, does Elena think it's going to be easy or hard? Because it says she'll be done in no time. So that's indicating that she thinks it's going to be easy. You could ask that one. Again, if it's the same page, on this page you could always ask, have you ever built a tent? This one already has a question, where did Elena go? She'd be like, she's under the tent. And then question like, has something ever fallen on you? Because the tent fell on her. Vocab, untangles herself. They may not know what that means, but you can just say that's like getting out of the tent. So this one I'd be like, for remembering, it says she forgot the poles. So I'd be like, what did Elena forget? And you can point, anytime you're asking a question, point on the page. So I would like point to the poles, so to see if they could do it. Yeah. And then this one has a question, where is Elena now? Again, she is under the tent. Says she's, you could either ask this as a labeling question for a verb, like, what is Elena doing? This page says she's thinking. You could wait until after you read the page and be like, what was Elena doing? Thinking. To also relate to the story, what do you think she's thinking about? And then to relate to them, what do you like to think about? And then this one, I would say, to label emotions, how is Elena feeling? Because it clearly says she is mad, but try to show them the face, let them know that she's mad. And then you can even ask, to remember the story, why is she mad? Right, that could be a prediction one, or you can read the page and ask, why is she mad? And then you can relate to them, right? Have you ever tried to do anything that made you mad because it was hard, right? Get it, talking to them. What did you do to do it? This is a good yes or no question. It says, Elena does not need help. What do you, and then you can be like, does Elena think she needs help? Yes or no? I always like to do the thumbs up or down for yes or no, so that nonverbal kids can also it says, okay, maybe it's time for a little help. So I'd be like, okay, what does Elena need? She needs help. And then you can even relate to them. What do you do when you need help? Hopefully you're getting them to be like, ask, right? We want them to learn to ask. And then says she breathes, she reads, and then follows the steps. So that is this is a good page to talk about how we work through those frustrations, right? She was frustrated. What do we do? Because is it okay to be mad? Yes. But she took a breath and then she moved on, right? We can go take a break. We can go get a drink of water, eat a quick snack, anything to take a break, calm down, and then go back to it. And then, ta-da, she made her tent. So that's a good question to talk about. What happens when we keep trying? Because things are going to be hard, right? And then, yeah. Good night, Elena. So those, not too many words. Labeling questions for this page. It says good night, but you can be like, what is she using? What is she going to do before she goes to sleep? She has a book. You could be like, do you like to read before you go to bed? Does that help you sleep? What helps you sleep? But yeah, that is, I don't even remember the title of this. Elena Camps, I believe, is the title. This is a cute book. I will definitely have to read it. So there you have it. Elena Camps. I'm so glad I found this. It is so important for kids to read, so that's why I'm doing this. So hopefully you don't have to think about it, or as you watch these videos, you'll be like, okay, I'm getting the idea of what sort of questions to ask, because you can honestly make a book as long or as short as you need. You can ask more in-depth questions. The older the kids are, like 6, 7, 8, they're going to be able to answer more in-depth questions than like 2, 3, 4-year-old. And even a 2-year-old, you might just ask yes or no questions, right? But you can always adapt it to them. But they really need to hear, I think, 20,000 words a day. So this is so important. But thank you for sticking out this long. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and share it to anyone you know who could benefit from this, or just anyone in general. If you're new, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because you guys are doing so great. And it's thanks to you, our subscribers keep going up, 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 and You guys are the best. So thank you for sharing. Don't forget to hit that notification button so that you will be notified of all videos. I'm pretty consistent. Monday and Wednesdays, the children's books. Saturdays, my own books. And even that, I kind of have a pattern. I'm just a pattern person. And I would also love to hear your comments if you've read this book, any similar books, or just any questions you have about reading, right? I would just love to hear from you. And yeah, I think that's it for this time, and we'll see you next time. Bye.